The graduation address gives us the opportunity to hear from a distinguished member of our alumni community, and we are fortunate today the address will be delivered by Mr. Graeme Wise. Mr. Wise is an entrepreneur and philanthropist. He joined BHP as a commercial trainee directly from school and undertook his Bachelor of Economic degree at Monash University. He has previously worked at Alcoa Australia and Myer. He is currently the Executive Chairman of the Aden Group. In 1983, Mr. Wise was granted the head franchise for Body Shop Australasia. He operated the business for 31 years and it has become the foundation for the Aden Group of companies. In 2008, the Wise Foundation was established to further the social commitments of the Aden Group. The Foundation's mission is to strengthen communities and to achieve economic independence through business. Mr. Wise is also the founder and patron of the Big Issue street newspaper. I now have much pleasure in inviting Mr. Graeme Wise to deliver the graduation address.
Thank you very much. It was a very impressive ceremony and it took me back a long way. So congratulations to all of you. It's a very special day in your life when you graduate from university, and those people who don't take advantage of it really miss out on something that is very symbolic and very important as a foundation for the future. But I bet you're glad it's almost over and you can really reflect on your achievement. You just have to put up with me talking at you for a few more minutes, and then you can go off and celebrate and bathe in the glory of your great achievements. So bear with me for a little bit. For me today, it's been a chance to reflect on my career and on the things that have been important to me. And hopefully the things I have to say today are interesting enough for you not to fall asleep. And I hope I'll keep it pretty short. My business career has been much different to what I imagined it would be when I was a student. I don't think I set my sights very high. Not high at all in retrospect, but I've achieved a very high level of enjoyment and success in everything I've done. Far, far greater than my teachers at school would have expected, and they would be absolutely amazed. But what I now realise is that the attitudes and standards that you take into your business life and careers will be the foundation and success of the society which you inhabit and which your children and your grandchildren will inherit. So there's no pressure on you at all. What I want you to think about is that as you begin to build your careers, that the actions and decisions that you make from here on will change society. And the question I will put to you through this discussion is, will it be good change? Will I like myself for the things I do at the end of the day? Will I have enjoyed myself and made others happy? Will the world be a better place? And there are challenges right through life because there are so many commercial imperatives in the world today that sometimes those take far greater importance in an employer's mind than probably they should. The American poet Walt Whitman said, "Re-examine all you've been told and dismiss what insults your soul. And you'll come across many situations in your working life when you have cause to examine your soul." I know I've had to do it many times. But today we're celebrating the beginning of the rest of your life, a life that is now well equipped and qualified to succeed. So I'm going to try to give you some thoughts on what you should consider as you move into this important new phase. So unless you're a person of independent means, the next stage will be a paid job. And that will be great. And what will you consider the purpose of your job? And there's a lot of decisions that have to be made when you choose your job. First, you don't have to take any job, you go for one that you want to go for. You have to be paid well, there has to be a fair remuneration. Don't work for nothing. A worker is worthy of his or her hire. Pretty basic thought, and we should have ambitions to be paid well. But really probably the thing that drives you to think about this a lot is which job, which career, which industry, which institution, which company. Then what will be the outcome of the job that you're doing? Will the job achieve anything of importance? Will it help build a better society? Will it contribute to a detriment of society or of anybody in it? Will it make your mum and dad proud? And more importantly than probably anything, will it make your heart sing? There are so many things to consider, and you thought the examinations and study was the hard bit, and that was all over. Well, I'm sorry. I was listening to the Deputy Chancellor saying today that to you graduate, did you enjoy your study? And well done. And I thought to myself, it's all starting. The hard bit is now, and it's putting into practice all the things that you've learned and the things that you should bring into the life. I began my university education here on the Clayton campus of Monash in 1963. Now that's probably ancient history to all of you. No one had yet graduated, and his reputation had not yet been earned. I made really hard work of the study part of it, and I finally completed my degree over almost 50 years ago today. As today, fees had to be paid for the privilege of a university education, and though many dealt with this by gaining scholarships from the Australian government, low achievers like me had to seek other avenues. And in the 60s, many large companies provided a potential solution through commercial traineeships. And these combined paid work with time off to attend lectures. I enrolled in the Faculty of Economics and Politics as it was then, and was able to do the coursework 2 mornings a week, leaving to return to the city at 1 p.m. to my job at BHP. And in those days, the Ming Wing had not yet been built, and the campus was very muddy. The campus was referred to as the farm, and the mud seemed to be really appropriate for that. And my boss would always check my shoes on arrival back at the office, as if to verify I'd been attending lectures and not sitting in the pub for those 2 mornings. But in fact, I enjoyed my time here as a part-timer and the atmosphere so much that my ambition was to be a full-timer. The full-timers were having far too much fun to miss out on that. And the company held out the carrot to finance me into full-time on successful completion of first year. Alas, my inability to pass economic statistics, and I could hear all those actuarial people saying, how did he do that? I had real trouble with that one. But I finally they wouldn't take me on as a full-time commercial trainee, so I had to finance my way through the next 2 years. And although I still had a trailing subject to pass, I joined Alcoa at the end of my time here as a full-timer and finished the degree part-time again. And I was a sales engineer with Alcoa, which for aluminium was the wonder metal of the future. And I performed this important role with great enthusiasm in Australia and in the UK, and I loved it. Sadly, in retrospect, I thought at the time that was about as good as it got. I was very, very happy. And it would have been okay. It's okay not to become the next most successful person in the world. What is really important is you do good things and you don't do bad things to other people or the environment as you go through life. I probably could have done that as an aluminium salesman. I certainly had a lot of fun. However, in my case, I did spend 15 years marketing and selling aluminium until the company here realised that we could both do a lot better if I left. So they asked me to leave, and I call it fate. So picking up my bruised ego, in 1981, I changed career and began to become a retailer with Myer. And after setting up, for 12 months, I set up an emerging English cosmetics brand for them, but for them, they strangely decided they didn't want to proceed and left me jobless again, and the project in hiatus. And I think what I'm trying to get across here is that sometimes a lot of adversity comes into your life, and you can either say, this is terrible, woe is me, or you can keep going. And I had been actually asked to leave 2 companies in a very short space of time. I didn't take it personally. I kept going, and I built a career that I was very, very proud of. I was sure this project would be a success, and I was successful in convincing Anita Roddick, the founder of the Body Shop, that I could make it happen in Australia. And so from one little shop in Melbourne in 1983, the business was built over the next 30 plus years to a chain of 92 stores in Australia, which I owned, and I've recently sold to the Body Shop International. I've been left with a huge feeling of surprise that a career in aluminium selling can segue into a career in an entrepreneurial business selling skin and hair care. And as you can see, I'm very interested in hair care. It also made me aware that one must never be afraid to do something different. And Anita Roddick, the founder of the Body Shop, used to say, be first, be daring, be different. And being different is something that is sometimes very frightening, but very rewarding. The business encouraged me to build a company which put back into society. I used to say to my staff and to people who listen to me that I wanted to own and manage a company that I would love to work for. And it sounds very worthy and not very specific, but to give you some examples of what we achieved in the time I ran the Body Shop. And this is a successful company I'm talking about here, so the things I'm talking about now don't have a really strong commercial involvement. We started the Big Issue street newspaper to give homeless people a hand up, not a handout. We opened a childcare centre at our own office for our staff. We ran campaigns to stop nuclear testing in the South Pacific, to stop testing cosmetics on animals, to oppose whale slaughter, to oppose the Iraq War, to oppose rainforest destruction. We campaigned against domestic violence, sex trafficking. We set up programs to advance the work prospects of homeless young people. And every 2 years we conducted a full externally verified social audit of our business, staff, governments, suppliers, customers, to see if we were doing everything that we said we would do as a company. And we sold a lot of skin and hair care. And I just really wanted to say that this is not a charitable organisation. This was a pure commercial play, but with a really strong social agenda. The company created was populated by people who felt that their working life mattered on a bigger scale. Our customers were excited to be included in what they saw as a movement, and good people were attracted to work for us. We did stuff. It was good fun to work with people who cared, and it paid off through the success of the company. You can run a company to serve the commercial desires of the shareholders, and that's the norm. Or you can also act to use the company to create change that will benefit society. Those of you who are going to go into business or into any enterprise or institution are invited to think about this. Philosophy has a very important role to play in one's working life. My business philosophy has been to integrate my social objectives into the fabric of my businesses. My personal aim has been to create a company that I would like to work for if I didn't own it. And I think I have this mantra that sort of sits in the back of my mind. It's a quotation from Anita Roddick. It says, she probably pinched it from somebody else, so I'll put that in there at this stage. But she used to say a lot, business shapes the world. The decisions of business people are capable of changing society in almost any way. So if those decisions are not governed by a sense of moral purpose, then God help us all. So now comes, you might have thought I'd given a bit of advice, but now comes the advice bit. I tried to recall the sage words of advice that the graduation speaker passed on my graduation nearly 50 years ago. But embarrassingly, I can't remember a thing. I'm sure you won't remember me or what I say either, so I'm going to keep my words of wisdom to a minimum so you don't have to forget very much. First, and most importantly, do something you love doing. This will make your life happy and productive. Love something worthwhile which will benefit others. This world's in many ways a place where love of fellow man is in very short supply. Certainly in business, it is markedly absent in many companies. The short-term reward focus of governments, of companies and institutions leads to unsustainability It's all very good for 3 or 4 years, but on the long term, you want to be able to drive something that really does have a positive impact on society. Think about the long-term decisions, long-term effects of the decisions you make. Be a good person, knowing the things you accept will have as much effect as the things you reject. It was Gandhi who said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And as I quoted before, Walt Whitman, re-examine all you've been told and dismiss what insults your soul. You will have many opportunities present to you over your careers. When the right one comes, you will know and be open-minded to do something different. Do something that, in the words of Anita Roddick, makes your heart sing. And also do something that will make your mum and dad proud of you and what you achieve. But most importantly, do something you are proud of, and something that you love. Thank you very much.